Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, all you dregs to society, all you rock dwellers, all you sycophants, all you stinkos, all you hateful people, and you patriots also, who celebrate the president. You're always welcome here, and this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, and joining me as my co-host is the Doctor for the Republic, Dr. Right, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. Nasir, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
Thank you, Rick. Pleasure to be here once again, and let's get it started by saying it's just another great day to be alive and well and free and living in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world, bar none.
Yep. Nasir, do you ever think how lucky we are to be born here? Seriously, I think about this all the time. Where else would I have wanted to be born or lived? Or, my God, you are truly right. This is the greatest. I say it's the greatest place in the history of God's blue-green planet. Nowhere can be matched.
A lot of great places in the world to visit, but there's no other place like home as a red, white, and blue. And what we've got in our background here, what you've got in your background here, what we've got around it, absolutely.
Well, Nasir, we got a little bit. There's nothing wrong
with saying that, Rick. There's nothing wrong with saying with USA. We're number one. We want to be number one in everything. We want to beat everybody in everything.
Yep.
We want to be the best.
And don't be ashamed of it.
And don't be ashamed of it. Absolutely.
Be proud of it. Well, Nasir, we do have a little bit of California news. The lunatic California news. Governor Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Garcetti are saying that they might not be open. They might not open the state for another year, Nasir. I mean, that would, my gosh, just think of the impact that would have on California.
Mayor Garcetti has already said in Los Angeles County out there that, 3 more months. So that's June, July, August.
That's ridiculous.
And now guess what? Governor Newsom, Governor Newsom, here's the thing, Rick. They want to milk the system. Where else? They're basically saying, fund our pension liabilities, fund the deficits that are happening within the government. Well, I got news for these people. It's just like they said, if they don't open up, why should the hard-earned tax dollars of this country be put to those entities, those municipalities, those townships or whatever? Mm-hmm. There are citizens out there. You hear this all the time in the state of Washington. There's a girl out there, okay, you know what they did? They set Human Health and Services out there because she's a single mom with a business to basically say that she was endangering her children because she was leaving to go to work her business. And whether or not the nanny where she was dropping the babysitting off, whether or not that was so what they're doing is they're using regulations, Rick, to basically go after these people. Well, how about the bars? Guess what? Remember the barber? There's a barber out there. That's what they did. They said, They threatened I think the mayor said, you know what we do? Call the regulatory agency, pulled his permit. If you're a bar or restaurant and you're deciding to open up, they're going to pull your liquor permit. I mean, this is how they're going to come and get you.
Well, they're nuts. Let's put this in perspective, Nasir. This is from the CDC. All right. This is from and I'm talking California now because we're talking Newsom Garcetti. Okay. In California, deaths from the Chinese flu, 1,900 versus deaths from all cases, 80,000. 80,000. This is from the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. So roughly about 1.5% of the deaths from the state of California have been because of the Chinese flu. And I'm not politically correct here. I'm calling it what it is, the Chinese flu. So for that, they are willing to shut down the entire state for the Chinese flu. The 1,900 deaths from the Chinese flu. Doesn't matter about all the other causes of death. We're going to close down the state for less than 2,000 deaths. And Nasir, the state of California has a population of 43 million. Okay? But because 1,900 people died from the Chinese flu, we're going to shut down the state and maybe keep it closed. There at one time, Nasir, not too long ago, California, the state of California, was like the ninth largest economy in the world.
Yes.
And what they're going to do is they're going to drive it, Nasir, into third world status. I kid you not. Third world status. That's what they're going to drive it to. Many of these businesses that are shut down, Nasir, will never come back. That means those jobs will never come back. And as I've said since the beginning of this is a self-induced depression, a self-created depression. I'm talking real depression here, comparable to 1929 as far as people out of work goes. It took 16 years and a world war to get over the last Great Depression. Is that what we want now? I'm not saying this isn't serious, but Nasir, every illness is serious. Is this illness any more serious than the flus, the viruses we get every year? Last year, 43 million people got the flu. 61,000 died. The year before that, 49 million people got the flu. 78,000 people died. Is this any more serious than that? Why wasn't the world shut down then? Maybe because those weren't presidential election years, and this is. And the people that are driving this hysteria, the left-controlled media,
absolutely,
they hate Donald Trump.
That's true.
They want to do anything they can to get rid of him, including destroying the country.
Absolutely. It means nothing to them. And I've said this before, is that if you were to absolutely inject these people on the left, these alt-left, what we call the mainstream media, the alphabet media, if you were able to inject them with truth serum, and you ask this question, if you were able to find right today, right now, there's a vaccine that one company would come up with, and it would end the Chinese flu, that anybody that had it would recover, and that nobody would get it in the future. And you had that door number one. And then you had the next door number two, which said, no, we want to continue this, and because if we continue it, we might have a chance to get rid of President Trump and get a Democrat elected. I guarantee you, I say this with everything, of every cell of my being, that those Democrats, those people on the alt-left, those never-Trumpers, the deep staters, everybody that wants and hates President Trump would choose door number two, because they said they couldn't get him on Russia, couldn't get him on the collusion delusion, couldn't get him with the Mueller report, couldn't get him with, Stormy Daniels, couldn't get him with the Ukraine. Now they're hoping to get him with the economy, and this is why they don't want to open up, Rick. It has nothing to do with that. And
I agree with you. Absolutely agree with you.
Like you said, Governor Newsom, the executive order in California, that it is an executive order now that if you want to vote by mail, you've got the right to vote by mail. But they're not going to say that you can't go and
Which
vote.
is a formula for voter fraud.
Absolutely.
An absolute
formula.
Absolute formula for voter fraud. Now, so let's take our first break. We got a lot more to talk about. We also want to tell our audience who our guests are and the topics for our conversation. 3 brand new guests today. I'm really excited about that. But you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. We'll be right back. We'll tell you who our guests are right after this break. Oh, by the way, let's get this in today's show. Like
Right.
all our shows,
Yes,
every
yes.
single one of them is brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Nasser and I will be right back.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And welcome back. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh and yours truly, Rick Trader. And you know, the hallmark of our show is the guests that we have here on Conservative Commandos each and every day. However, if you'd like to recommend a guest, please send an email to me. Very easy email address, AUNTV, that's AUNTV @yahoo.com. AUNTV @yahoo.com. Love to hear from you. I'd love for you to recommend a guest. Maybe yourself would like to be a guest here on Conservative Commandos. And with that, Nasser, who are our guests for today?
Well, our first guest is going to be Dan Nuwash. He actually served in the Army as a Marines, and he was a co-founder right now and the director of a company, Patriot Pads, which is a veteran non-for-profit that helps veterans get into housing. And what Dan is going to talk about, he's an MBA. He's going to be talking to us about that it's your moral obligation to pay less taxes. In fact, it's your patriotic duty, to do so. We also have Rian Ingram. He is from the state of Washington. He is running for Congress in the congressional district. And he's going to be talking to us about what it's like to be a speck of red in a blue sea of liberalism out there, and also talking to us about what the state of politics are and how he's a strong supporter of President Trump.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we've got some other things that we need to discuss. And AG Barr says charges and investigation into Obama and Biden will most likely not happen.
You know, Rick, I don't know. You know, this
Why
is the
should
kind of,
those people skate, Nasser?
I really don't understand. I mean, we haven't even had the investigation yet or whatever, and this is already coming out. And I'll tell you what, Rick, you know what's going to be really deflating? You hear all this stuff, all these news things come out, that you've got all the pieces of the puzzle. And I'll tell you what, if nobody goes to jail, if Peter Strzok, if Lisa Page, if Ann McCabe, if Ben Rhodes, all these people, Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Rosenstein. If nothing happens, Rick, to these people, I mean, what are we here for then? I mean, you know what's going to happen the next time? I mean, can you imagine the next president coming in there, a Democrat or a Republican? I mean, who are you going to trust? There's no accountability. I don't understand that.
Well, what gets me, Nasser, how Republicans always go into these fights with their arms tied behind their back.
Absolutely.
They won't fight like the left, fight like the liberals. Maybe we need to take a page from the book of Barack Obama, the one that says, reward your friends, punish your enemies. Maybe, I don't know, Nasser.
Yes.
If there has been real crimes committed, investigate them.
Investigate those crimes.
If they're real crimes, prosecute them.
Yes.
No matter who they are, because the left sure wants to do it. What has the last 3 years been all about? Russia and Ukraine and everything else. I just don't understand the thinking of some people who are on the right. I really don't, Nasser. I don't.
And now we're waiting for Durham to come out with his indictments, hopefully, and we get fed this, right? It comes out that Durham is working. Attorney General Barr, they're going to get down to business. They're going to at least investigate. Now, maybe under the letter of the law. I mean, we don't know the nuances. Okay, the letter and the law, and this is why these people speak. I'm not talking about Attorney General Barr or Durham, but this is where we saw those pages come out, those 54 pages of transcripts of the CIA director, the FBI director, like we said, Brennan, Comey, all of them. What did they say? They were asked point blank, do you have any knowledge, any proof that there was any collusion between the Trump administration and Russia? And they all answered to the negative on that. But then they come out on CNN and all MSNBC, and what do they say? Putin is, a great handler. And President Trump is this. I mean, that's what they were coming out and saying, all these things. So it's frustrating, Rick. It's so frustrating because you come out and you're thinking,
it is frustrating. And God bless Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I surely hope he's our president for the next 4.5 years. But I think the major mistake that he made was that he didn't fire everybody in the Justice Department, fire everybody in the FBI, clean out those rat's nests, bring his own people in. Because the more and more you see, what a rat's nest, how polluted the FBI, the Justice Department, even the IRS has been, how they were so weaponized by Barack Obama, how Obama got his people in there, and they're still there, Nasser.
They are.
They're still there.
And those are the people that have not been elected. It's those people that, are the ones that continue. And like I said, that deep state that you talk about. I mean, just to give you an idea, not getting rid of people obviously was a huge mistake. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that we can count on, at least for the fact of the matter, is at least 182 judges and counting appointed to the different district courts and appellate courts or whatever, which will conservative judges, which are going to continue.
Good.
That's
those
good.
Are good things. But Nasser, when Obama came into office, he cleaned house. He fired every U.S. attorney, fired every one of them, brought in his own people. That's what Donald Trump should have done. And none of us are infallible. I really do believe that was the biggest mistake that Donald Trump made. He didn't clean house. Hopefully, he'll be reelected. Hopefully, going into the second term, he'll learn a lesson from that and clear them out.
Absolutely.
Clear them out. Absolutely clear them out. Well, Nasser, we need to take a break and get our first guest. And as I said, we have 3 great guests joining us here today on Conservative Commandos. And that's what you're listening to and watching, the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Stay with us. We got 3 great guests joining us, as we mentioned. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with Dan Nuwash. Dan is the co-founder and director of Patriot Pens, a veteran nonprofit that focuses on helping veterans utilize the VA Home Loan Program. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our first guest.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, the doctor for the Republic, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. Once again, as a reminder for a rebroadcast of our show, be sure to check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. And be sure to like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And Nasir, with that, we do have our first guest with us for the day, and the honor of that introduction is all yours.
Thank you, Rick. Well, we have Dan Nuwash. Dan, he's a patriot. He completed a 4-year active duty commitment to the United States Marine Corps right after high school. He was with the 2nd Battalion. He also deployed to Fallujah in 2007. He was part of Operation Alja, which was the last offensive operation that was conducted in Fallujah by the U.S. military. He deployed again with the 26th Military Expedition in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom aboard the USS Iwo Jima in 2008. After completing his commitment to the Marine Corps, he enrolled in St. Peter's University, and he completed his courses in international business and economics. Right now, he's an MBA and wanting to basically talk about why it is, what's your duty here? What's our moral duty in terms of paying taxes? So, Dan, first of all, we want to thank you for your service, both you and your family. Give us a sense of, who you are, a little bit about your background, and why this article that you wrote. What was so important about it in regards to telling everybody about what our necessities are in terms of paying our taxes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, first and foremost, it was an honor to serve, especially as long as patriots like you all still exist. The patriotic support is greatly appreciated. And it's your moral and patriotic duty to pay less in taxes. It's not just something I say. It's a value, a core value that both myself and my business that we hold and that we built our business upon. And it's also our business motto. And the reason, what led me to that was really when you look at the government and how the government spends money. If you just take our tax system, at a high level, we have a tax system and where 90% of people who file taxes that are W-2 employees are getting money back from the government. That doesn't mean that people are getting, a gift from the government or Uncle Sam's hooking you up or anything like that. That means that you overpaid in taxes, right? And at a federal level, nearly half of Americans don't pay federal income taxes, but we essentially have a system that's set up where there's a presumption that you owe, but nearly half of Americans don't end up paying in. And what you have to do is you have to appeal to the government and say, look, here's my numbers, here's how I filed, here's my deductions, And you have to do that in order to get what you overpaid in taxes. Because there's, in our criminal system, there's a presumption of innocence. Well, in our tax system, there's a presumption of guilt, right? You owe taxes. But the numbers kind of show that there's a decent chance that you won't owe. And really, when you look at how fiscally irresponsible the government is, it's kind of asinine to say, all right, well, I'm going to pay more in taxes. Let me give the government more money because they're so irresponsible with your money to begin with. Why would you want to give them more money? And if
exactly.
people do, yeah.
You talk about this where you say the government is so financially careless that it has caused, for at least in a large part, you write, other industries to go bankrupt. And then the stupidity of all this, you basically say they bailed those industries out with the money it didn't have, or actually the money that we give it. And then we give that money, it's not enough, so they have to borrow it. And then they turned around, they blamed that industry at bankrupting for the very crisis that the government helped them to create. Can you give us an example of that?
So in 1992, a bill was passed, the Housing and Community Development Act of 1992. And what that act required was that 30% of the loans going through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which is that's a government-sponsored entity, and that's a whole different topic on how ridiculous a government-sponsored entity is. But essentially, 30% of all loans being written had to be subprime loans. So these are loans that have to go to individuals that likely don't have the financial capabilities to abide by the obligations that loan requires. And it may seem like, all right, well, look, we're going to help people out to get loans. They wouldn't normally be able to get loans. The idea that banks don't want to loan you money it's just completely false, right? Banks make their money from loaning you money, right? The interest that they're accruing or that you're paying, that's where the banks are making money. So they want to give out loans, but they don't want to give out loans if you can't pay that loan back. And it's that you're not being helped by someone giving you a financial obligation that you can't fulfill. All right, they're really giving you a liability. And that number, originally it was 30%. Under Bill Clinton, they started making goals. So under Bill Clinton, they increased that from 30%. And this wasn't a mandate. It was just kind of like a goal that they set up in Congress. All right, well, let's increase that number. And the goal was 56%. 56% of all loans at one point.
Was that sort of part of the Community Reinvestment Act that basically told these banks in the communities that if you didn't do this, guess what? We're going to send the authorities, and you know what? Maybe we audit you.
Exactly, yeah. So banks were strong-armed into doing this. And that 30% number, it maybe could have been sustainable. Probably not, but 56% is definitely not sustainable. And that's what it causes this bubble. All right, then we have the huge bailout in 2008 after we had the housing bubble that bursts. And everybody still, the last survey I saw, 80% of Americans still blame the banks for the financial crisis of 2008. Well, the government mandated these loans to be written.
Exactly.
So I don't really see how that's the bank's fault if they had to write the loans. Now, I'm sure there was some predatory lending and all of that, but they were required to write the loans. And nobody blames the government. They always blame, high finance, the banks, the financial institutions. Well, they had to do it. So whose fault is it really?
Now, talk a little bit about where you say the too many businesses are paying too much in FICA taxes because they aren't using the payroll tax reduction. I know a lot of this is dry stuff, where you got to really look through the weeds and get the information, but it's important because, we work hard for our money, and our obligation, I think, should be, as you say, is we should try to keep as much money as we possibly can for ourselves.
Absolutely, yeah. And a lot of people don't realize how much it costs to employ someone. Well, whatever your salary is, the bank has another 6% on top of that. I'm sorry, your employer has another 6% on top of that they have to pay because they have to pay your FICA taxes. You're also matching that as well. But the vast majority of FICA taxes are going to, Social Security Disability and Social Security income, Medicare, Medicaid. But when you look at all of those systems that you're paying into, we can't really say that the money's being well managed, right? Social Security, it's only believed to be fiscally sustainable for a few more years, and after all the spending bills that are going in, that they're attempting to pass now, We have no idea how long it's going to be, but the reality is like you'll pay into Social Security for 30 years, and then what you end up getting back is it's not a good rate of return at all, especially if you're a higher income earner. If you're making more than $90,000 a year, there's a lot of numbers that show that you're actually losing money, right? Because you're paying in for Social Security, disability, Medicare, Medicaid. So it's really it's more important, I would say, to take some of that money, and we do that by reducing the payroll tax burden a business will have, to take some of that money and put it into something that the government's not holding on to, all right? Because I personally, I still got another 30 years at least of paying into Social Security. I don't know if it's going to be there. I know that whatever is there, I'm going to be overpaying. I'm not going to get a good rate of return. So if I could put that money into something else, I'd rather do that.
Now, other than that, in terms of what other examples, can you cite in terms, you talk about, government waste and how much money is wasted of our taxes in terms of that. Give us some examples of where our tax dollars are going in terms of just government waste and fraud.
Take the new CARES Act, for example, right? We were giving, millions and millions of dollars to universities that had large endowment funds. We gave $25 million to the Kennedy Center. The Kennedy Center has an endowment fund that's sitting at over $400 million. And the incentive was, all right, the government's going to give you some money, but you can't lay people off. Well, then the Kennedy Center still laid people off.
Exactly. Yes. Weren't we hearing this thing going on with a lot of companies that weren't supposed to receive stimulus money, and they ended up receiving it, just as some of these universities had received it, and they have these huge billion-dollar endowments. So give us a sense of some examples in that regard as well.
Yeah, well, the Kennedy Center got $25 million. That was literally written into the bill. We're going to take part of this money set aside, we're giving it straight to the Kennedy Center. They still ended up laying people off. Harvard got over $10 million. Harvard has a $1 billion endowment fund, and I'm all about higher education. But why are we giving money to these individuals that don't need it? All right, and when you really look at it, so the idea that the government can do something more cost effectively than private business is just entirely false, right? Because a business has a profit incentive, right? I need to generate a profit and make money, and I want to grow my business. The government departments and the branches and divisions of the government don't have that same obligation. It's actually the opposite, right? If a branch of the government or division of the government, if they start operating at a profit, right, which let's say they end up having money at the end of the year, well, then they're going to cut their budget. So it behooves the government or branches of the government to overspend, because then they can say, hey, we need more money. Look, we're not able to do it with the money that we have, so we need more money. Because if they end up operating with a profit, they're going to lose that money. Or, for example, the U.S. Postal Service, the USPS, at one point, I'm not sure if it still is, but at one point it was operating at a profit. So what ended up happening was that the government took that profit and they started spending it elsewhere. And then they go to the USPS and they say, all right, well, now you have a number you have to hit. All right, you need to generate X amount of income. So for a while, they were actually operating at a profit, and then they weren't hitting their number. So then they start saying, oh, well, now you're operating at a deficit. The reality was, for a while, the U.S. Postal Service was very financially feasible. They were covering all their bills, and then some. They weren't hitting the numbers that they wanted, so then they started operating at a loss. And that's not how business is done. And you can't operate with the mentality of, well, if a client ever came to me and said, well, the biggest problem with my business right now is we're not making enough money. That is not the problem, all right? You all are capitalists. You know that you got to spend money to make money, right? So if you're operating at a loss, well, you have to spend more money to make more money, whether that's putting money into marketing, a sales team, sales force, whatever it will be. You have to spend money to make money. So if a client ever comes to me and says, well, we're just not making enough money. No, you're overspending, right? And it's the same thing with the government. The government is overspending. And there's a lot of studies, a quick Google search, you can easily see that the government's going to be government wastes at least $500 billion a year. At least. I'd say a more realistic number would be about $1 trillion
$1
a
trillion.
year. Yeah, $1 trillion a year. All right, so how
Hey,
can
Dan,
we?
sorry to interrupt, but we do have to take a break. We're hoping that you can stay with us for another segment. Our guest this
Absolutely.
segment is Dan Nuwash. Dan is a former Marine, and again, Dan, we want to thank you and God bless you for your service to our country. Dan is also the co-founder and director of Patriot Pats, a veteran nonprofit that focuses on helping veterans utilize the VA home loan program, and maybe we can get Dan to talk about that after this break. But you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. We'll be right back with our guest right after this break.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
And welcome back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. Want to give a shout out to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida. Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, now in Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Wine Country, Silicon Valley, and Redding. Our guest this segment is Dan Nuwash. He's well, once a Marine, always a Marine, right, Dan? And
Absolutely.
he's also the co-founder and director of Patriot Pads, a veteran nonprofit that focuses on helping veterans utilize the VA home loan program. Dan, tell us a little bit more about Patriot Pads.
So it was a concept that I came up with a few years ago. And one of our co-founders, Dustin Martello, who's also he's a Navy veteran. I don't give him too hard of a time about that though. The VA home loan guarantee program it's one hands down the best mortgage you can get in the market. And this can kind of tie into what I was first talking about, where don't turn to the government and think that they're going to help you out, and they're going to be very wasteful with money. What I ended up doing was I purchased a 3-family home. I lived in one of those units. My rental income was supplementing all of my living expenses. Did that for 3 years, and then I sold the property for a profit. And so I went to a good friend of mine, Dustin, and I said, how do we take this and do this for other veterans? Because a single family home, while it's great, a lot of times a single family home can end up being more of a liability. So this is a way where we utilize a government program that costs very little to fund. So people look at the VA loan and for example, veterans get a better interest rate on their loan. Mm-hmm. It's not because Uncle Sam's hooking us up. All right.
Right.
All VA loans are done through private lenders, private banks. It's because statistically, veterans are more likely to pay their mortgage. Right? They're more used to a regiment, that sort of thing. So it has nothing to do with the government helping out veterans in that sense. All the government's doing for the VA loan is they're guaranteeing if the veteran defaults, they're going to pay 25% of the value of the purchase price. So, and very few veterans end up defaulting, as we already know, because we get that better interest rate because basically we're more likely to pay. So it ends up costing the government very little money to support this program.
Well, Dan, you're talking about that. You were also talking about the Community Redevelopment Act. That led to the 2008 housing and banking crisis. That when you're requiring that banks give 56% of their loans to people that can't afford to pay the mortgages back, that's where you get into a problem. But this is one of the problems that we get into with the tax code, as I see it, Dan. The fact that, there was somebody said a republic will work until politicians figure out a way to use your money to buy votes, basically, and that's what's happening here. When the tax system is rewarding politicians for making the country go bankrupt, and this is what's leading to this $23 trillion debt. And yet, Dan, you mentioned the CARES Act. There's another $2 trillion that's added on to that. The left, like Nancy Pelosi, wants $3 trillion more, and they're not done. So how do you solve this problem, Dan, of trying to help people out in this crisis that we're in? And by the way, I think it's a manufactured crisis. We've actually manufactured ourselves into a depression with this debt. Dan, you're a young man. Do you have children?
I do not know. The secret is holy water. All right, that's
the secret is holy water. Okay, well, you're a young man.
It burns a little bit, but it's worth it.
You're a holy man, Dan, and my gosh, I feel sorry for people like you, because it's going to be to your generation and the next generations after that are stuck with this debt. They're going to have to pay it, or something's going to happen for this debt to be kicked down the road. That's what we're doing. We're kicking it down the road to your generation. Talk a little bit about that, if you will.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, my business motto is it's your moral and patriotic duty to pay less in taxes, but it's also a value that I hold because the two best ways to fight corruption, or what I believe are the two best ways to fight corruption, are one, transparency, and that's the job of the media, right? Which mainstream media, I would argue, does definitely not give us that transparency into the government that we need, right? But normally, the idea behind that, shine a light on bad behavior, it tends to go away. The other way is just reduce the amount of resources, right? If there's less resources, there's literally less ability to be corrupt. Most people aren't going to corrupt themselves for a few $100s. When there's millions and millions and billions and in some cases trillions of dollars on the line, that leaves a lot of room for corruption and almost an incentive for corruption, right? So by paying less in taxes, it's our attempt to force that fiscal responsibility on the government by just reducing the amount of resources.
Right.
But then,
Dan, we only have about 2 minutes, and I really wanted to ask you this question. How do you feel about the fair tax? Fair tax basically is a national sales tax. I would love to see the country scrap the income tax and go to the fair tax, and I wanted to get your viewpoints on that.
Yeah, so the idea of having a consumer-driven tax system, I think, is a good idea. One, it's much harder to, when you have an income-driven tax system, well, you're almost punishing people for doing well. But when you have a consumer-driven tax, we have to spend money. All right, you're not going to be able to have deductions in place or it's going to be much more difficult to put those deductions or get around that. So I'm for that. I think a flat tax system. One, if we simplified our tax code, I'm out of a job, right? I do advanced tax planning, so a complex tax system is good for me. But at a value level, I think a flat tax system with maybe a flat national sales tax, it's going to be one much simpler at our level as consumers to determine, and two, it's more fair overall. Right. A flat tax rate. If flat tax rate, let's just say 10% of 100,000. $10,000. 10% of $1 million, $100,000. So you're still paying more based off of your income, but it's a more fair system rather than that progressive tax.
Right. And I also think with the fair tax, where you have a consumer-based tax, number one, everybody pays. So everybody pays because everybody has to buy things, and that depends upon how much they're spending, and that's equated to how much they're making. Another thing I think that it does, Dan, the underground economy. Mm-hmm. People who are working under the table. Well, that goes away. By the way, Dan, we got to run in a minute or two. But how much did you say that Harvard University got under this CARES Act?
I'm not sure the exact number. I'm fairly confident it was over 10 million. I know the Kennedy
Do you know
Center,
what your endowment is?
Harvard's?
Harvard, and I'm looking at it here. The Harvard University endowment valued at $40.9 billion.
Yeah.
$40.9 billion. That's when you talk about waste, fraud, and abuse, Dan. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a great example.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan Nuwash, we've got to run. But before we do, I want you to tell our viewers and our listeners how to keep track of what you do.
You can always visit my website, financeforthought.com. You can follow me on Twitter, finance4thought. I'm on Instagram as well at Dan Nuwash, or my business account at Finance for Thought. And we have a Facebook page as well, fairly easy to find. But Twitter's normally that's where we're most active, actually.
Dan Nuwash, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Commandos. Once again, thank you so much for your service to our country. Take care and God bless.
You too. Thank you for having me.
And you are listening and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh and yours truly, Rick Trader. And we'll be right back with our next guest right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh and yours truly, Rick Trader. And once again, for rebroadcasts of our show, maybe you'd like to share it with a friend. It's easy to do. Check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You'll find our TV show there, our radio show there, and a lot of other terrific articles and information. And with that, Nasir, we do have our next guest with us, and you two are kind of kindred souls in a way, and I'm sure we'll get into that explanation, but the honor of that introduction is all yours.
Well, thank you, Rick. Well, you know, one of the things that we'd like to do, obviously, here is no matter where you're at, is find those patriots, those conservatives that are out there across this great land of ours that are doing things, either to help fellow patriots or fellow citizens, or even some of those that are running for office. And we have here right now Rian Ingram, who is running for the Congressional District 10, I believe, in the state of Washington, D.C. Rian, just to give you a little background of Rian, he served as an officer in the U.S. Army for over 11 years. He was a logistics officer where he managed multi-million-dollar government contracts. He then, after his tour, he earned his MBA, co-founded his own small business, And he's also become a local leader in the area. So, Ryan, we want to welcome you to the Conserve Commandos radio network and give us a sense of what's it like to be that. I mean, how big of a speck of red is it out there in that blue ocean out in Washington, the state of Washington?
Hey, it's great. Hey, thanks for having me on. So yeah, it's the belly of the blue beasts. They've a lot of the voting ways that we do stuff now for the Liberal Party was actually created and executed here in the state of Washington. But that tide is changing right now. A lot of people don't see that, don't know that. Currently, the district I'm running in here out in Washington State, it was a D+5 with an incumbent, and it's currently getting to about a purple right now, and it includes Olympia. So it's starting to get red throughout the Puget Sound, which is our goal. Bring some conservative love to this area.
Well, give us a sense of. You said that this was something. I know when we talked over the weekend a little bit. You said that this was a seat that was just created how long ago, and then it's been blue, and now hopefully, like you said, it's you want to turn that thing red. Give us a sense of how difficult is it in terms of with the issues and the people that are out there. Why is it so liberal? What makes that area that you're in like a liberal bastion for ideas?
Well, so we'll start off with the district. So the district got zoned. We added a seat. We used to have 9 congressional seats. We now have 10, and it was zoned out in 2010, and then they actually voted on it to put in the first congressman, currently Denny Heck, in 2012. So he's been in there since 2012. He decided to retire this year. For whatever reason, he's now running here, and he wants to get more involved in the state politics, so he's opening up this seat. But as far as the views from the left and how they've come up here, I mean, it started happening, I would say in the mid to late 80s. So the last Republican governor we actually had here in the state of Washington was 1982. But then after that, you saw this big influx of people coming up from California. They were kind of leaving there and they would come up here. But instead of leaving their politics behind in California, they'd bring them up here and they would start voting in the same kind of people. What's happening right now, though, is because of all these businesses being shut down and all these people getting put out of business, both sides of the aisle, so to speak, want the same thing. So those views are starting to go away. People are starting to see, man, we don't want this here anymore. We have, they're as far as the financial aspect of it, they're bankrupting our state right now, and people want to change, and that's what is happening right now, and that's why I'm going to be part of this. And there's some other great Republicans and conservatives here as well that are trying to make a difference in this state and get it turned back to where we have reason and we can actually debate with each other without being told those one-letter words all the time that everybody always hears when you start debating. So that's the issue right now. We want to be able to get out our word and have people debate back and forth. And go in a good direction for everybody, and not just say, hey, we're going to do it this way, or hey, we're going to do it that way. So that's kind of what we're trying to do right now.
Oh, great. Well, I know, like also speaking with you previously as well, you're obviously a huge Trump supporter. How does President Trump and his policies, how does that sort of, play up there with some of the other people that you're in? There's a lot of, Republicans out there, what we call, rhinos, or those that are trying to shy away from President Trump, even when they're running. And we've heard about those across the country where they say, well, it's local politics and we want to stay out of the national limelight. But what's it like for some of the Republicans and some of your people that you're going to be running against? Are they, pro-Trump? Do they sort of shy away from it, or they declare it as you do as a?
Yeah. So I do. I wholeheartedly support our president. I think a lot of the things that he is doing is awesome. There are people up here that say, just like everybody else, I don't like his tweets, I don't like this or that. But for me, I don't really care about that. What matters to me is if I promise to do something, I'm going to work as hard as I can to do it. And that's starting to wear off up here. People are starting to realize, he's had all this adversity, all these people attacking him all the time, but he continues to deliver, or works to deliver on the promises that he gave the American people. He's not a career politician. Neither am I. I've never been in office before. And I think that's what people want right now. They want somebody who isn't a career politician, who isn't going to sell them down the road, who's going to listen to their constituents, and they're going to do what their constituents want. Because at the end of the day, we all work for the people. We are elected officials by the people, for the people, of the people. And so it is our duty to serve them. So those there are people up here that like Trump, and it's starting to pick up a lot more. He's getting a lot more steam up here in the state of Washington. I know he's starting to close the gap, and when we see in this next election in November, you will see those numbers. He may not win the state, but it's going to be a lot closer than it was in 2016 up here.
Now, give us an idea. Is that we always ask this question: is that if you were elected, what would be the first pieces of legislation or something that you'd really want to focus and attack immediately?
Yeah, so right now the most important thing for me is our pharmaceutical manufacturing. You can read through the numbers, and a lot of people don't know this when I talk to them. It's just eye-opening, the amount of raw goods and actual manufacturing of our pharmaceuticals that's made over in China, India, and other countries, and it's not here. It's not controlled by us. And so that would be one of the first things. And it's not just the pharmaceutical aspect of it, it's all the manufacturing. I want to bring back as much manufacturing as we can here so we can control it. As we see all those supply chains, they're very fragile. They can get broken at any time. And the next thing you know, those antibiotics, so those lisinoprils, those amoxicillins, those things that everybody wants and is used to having is now done and it's cut off. So putting in some kind of legislation doesn't mean we have to bring all of it back, but we have to bring a substantial amount of it back. And we could still offshore a lot of that stuff, but we need to control it. And that's the biggest thing. So bringing the pharmaceutical manufacturing back here is the most important thing for me. And after that, it would go into kind of reforming our immigration systems and working on helping out some of the local issues that are as much of those as you can at a federal level.
Now, one of the other questions that I have to ask you is, when you're facing, the opponents out there on the Democratic side or the left side, would you say they're extreme? Are they so totally to the left, or are some of them trying to get to the center? Are they hiding what they're that's obfuscation? Give us a sense of what you're up against, like you said, in this, little red dot in a sea of blue.
Yeah. So some of them running are absolute radicals. There are some that are very, very far left, you would say. Bernie Sanders, socialism, left even farther in some cases. And some of them are more towards the middle, but none of them are willing to take that step and go into the middle. They may want to debate with you a little bit, but in reality, they're not. They're all they are really looking for is power. And they're not looking at, how do I help the people? How can a person who has never been in the military sit here in a military district, who doesn't even live in the district, and say, I'm here to help the military? Okay, well, how would you do that? Well, I've never been in the military to know how to help them, but I think I can. It's like, okay, well, it's going to take you a lot of time to catch up in order to do something like that. But some of them are making an effort to kind of come towards the middle, and a lot of them aren't. The voters are definitely starting to come towards the middle, and a lot of the voters are starting to move conservative right now because they see what's happening, and they like that. They don't like what's happening here. They don't like that our governor won't open up the state. They don't like that we're losing billions of dollars a week. They don't like that you can't go down the street and speak your mind without somebody harassing you. They don't like that anymore. So that's kind of what's happening here, and it is. It's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to slowly move, but it is.
Here on the Conservative Commandos radio show, our guest is Rian Ingram. Rian is seeking to become the congressman from the 10th Congressional District in Washington, the state of Washington. Rian, we got to take a short break here. Could you hold on for just a few moments for us, please?
Sure will. Thank you.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. Don't go away. We'll be back with our guest right after this break.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And welcome back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. And want to give a shout out to folks who listen to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network in places like San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Santa Rosa, Silicon Valley, wine country, all the way up to Redding in the northern part of the state. Our guest this segment is Rian Ingram. Rian is seeking the Republican nomination to run for Congress in the 10th Congressional District in the state of Washington. Rian, thank you for holding through that break. We really do appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rick.
Rian, you mentioned your district is D+5. That's very winnable. That's
Absolutely.
very winnable for a conservative Republican. I find that very interesting. But you also mentioned off air to me, Rian, that you are seeking the Republican nomination. There are actually 19 people seeking the nomination. How do you separate yourself from those other 19? How do you get recognized and say, hey, I'm the guy that you need in Washington to representing your district, the values and the values of the country?
Well, I think it all starts with listening to the people. The people are the ones that are going to say, I want this and I want that, and I like this person and I don't like that person. But it's getting out there and seeing them, being around them, being part of what they do and who they are. For instance, going out to local food banks, going out delivering food, going out and helping people, and just being there for them and letting the people know that you're there to help them all the time. That's how you stand out out here. Right now, as we know, we're going through this whole virus pandemic, so to speak, that's happening here in the country. It's made it difficult to do a lot of the things that would be traditional as far as campaigning, but it's also allowing us to start doing other avenues that we can get our name out there. Because I mean, traditionally Republicans weren't big into the social media. That was more of the left side, and now we're being forced to go more into the social media aspect of this whole thing. I've started making short little videos on the Constitution and little industries like the logging industry, trucking industry, construction industry, a little minute and a half, just put it out there, let people know, this is the views, this is what I believe. So that's the way to start separating yourself, and is to just let people know, hey, this is what I want to do, and I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm. Looking at your website, I really kind of like the things that you're running on, the economy. And that's, in my opinion, that is the issue moving forward. We're in a depression right now, Ryan.
Yep.
This is a self-induced depression, in my opinion, that we go through a cold, flu, and virus season each and every year. Last year, 43 million people got the virus. 61,000 died. The year before, 49 million people got the virus. 78,000 died. I only see one difference between this season, this virus season, and those two, Ryan. It's a presidential election year.
That's right.
And the people who are controlling the media, they don't like Donald Trump. They want to get rid of them. But I also see this, Ryan. When you look at the people like Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Donald Trump, there's only one of those that has the track record. There's only one of those that have the policies, the economic policies, to help to get us out of this depression. May take long, but I think he's got the policies to do it. Could you talk about your policies, how your policies might align with that of Donald Trump?
Well, I mean, as we know, to just put it into perspective, the Dow Jones was almost at 30,000 before this virus hit. So we know the policies that he has in place work, and they were working. We had the strongest economy we have ever had. We just need to keep that up, doing stuff like that, continue to do policies like that, occupational laws. Let's kind of fix those a little bit. Those are impacting a lot of people in the way that they are thinking, the way they're able to do business. I think deregulation on a lot of these industries would be great. We don't seem to hit our imports as much as we should. We're allowing, for instance, we can say like the lumber industry. Why are we allowing, we have abundance of lumber, and we do very good at continuing to allow the lumber to grow and doing our site preparations and everything for the lumber industry. Why is it that we're buying a bunch of lumber from other countries like China and allowing them to come in and making it so it's cheaper? That's impacting us here. We need to start deregulating that. We need to start putting tariffs on all those imports coming in so that we can do what we need to do here in our country. So we can continue to keep our manufacturing going, keep our people having jobs, and not destroy our economy, or at least those industries. And the trucking industry is another big one. Why regulate it so much? It's regulated to death. And you see all these owner-operators, these small businesses, 10 and less trucks going out of business. I say a lot of this is inflicted by the government with over-regulations. So let's get rid of them. Let's deregulate a lot of these industries so that we can kind of continue moving on in the direction we need to move on.
Ryan, in this depression, this self-induced depression created by the Chinese virus, as I call it, because that's where it's coming from, and I'm not going to be politically correct here. It's the Chinese virus. A lot of the businesses, I fearful, may never come back.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Talk about what we do for businesses.
Well, here in the state of Washington, you go around and you see all these businesses that are out, and you think, hey, 50% of these businesses aren't going to be coming back. The ones that are hit the hardest out here are like restaurants, service industry. They're getting massacred. But the ones that aren't getting massacred are government businesses. government unions, government employees. They're not the ones that are getting furloughed. They're not the ones losing their job. Private citizens are the ones that are producing and paying taxes so that we can do what we need to do to defend this country. And that's where all the money's coming from. It's coming from the producers. And so we need to continue to support those producers. It doesn't mean money-wise. I know that they're going to need money, and we've put money out there. But we need to help support them, and we need to allow them to work. And right now we're not. And that's the biggest issue right now that we're running into. But the government seems to be working. So I want to know, why is a government employee considered essential and a private sector person who hires employees, pays taxes, and provides a service or a product not essential?
Yeah, it seems like they put the cart before the horse. Rian Ingram, we've got to run. We're coming up against a hard break, but I would like you to tell our audience, number one, how they could help you. Number two, where can they find out more about you? And I'd like you to make a little bit of appeal, if you would, for a minute. We only have about a minute. Why should people around the country help Rian Ingram out in the 10th Congressional District of Washington?
Well, I'll tell you my website first. It's Rian, R-I-A-N, that's Rian with an I, F-O-R, Congress.com. So RianForCongress.com. Check me out there because we need, I mean, people say it all the time, but we need people who actually care about our country, who care about our values, and who want to continue to push those values and allow us to become successul as a nation, not as a global entity, but a nation. I'm not a career politician. I'm a combat veteran, and I own a small business. So those are that's important, and it's ethics and morals, just bringing those in and doing selfless service for the people. That is what is important. But check out my website, please, and send me an email. You can talk to me, give me a call anytime you want. I'm happy to talk to you.
Ryan, I'll tell you one thing, and just parting, I think we need more veterans in Congress.
We do.
I think there's a dearth of veterans in Washington, D.C. But Rian Ingram, thank you so much for joining us. Take care, God bless, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It was great.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and yours truly, Rick Trader. And we'll be right back with our next guest right after this break.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, all you fellow deplorables. Welcome once again to the Conserve Commandos radio show. I happen to be your host. My name is Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and you're watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show as we're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos radio network. I want to give a huge shout out to our listeners in Tampa, the Villages, Florida, and Jacksonville, also in Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and all you lovable leftists, you lunatics out there on the left coast, the wrong coast out there in Long Beach, California, and also we are in Arlington, Virginia, and the toilet bowl, if you hear that flushing sound behind us, we're also happen to be in Washington, D.C., folks. Conserve Commandos, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. And also, we can be seen on the AUN TV network out in California. Well, folks, a great show packed with so many things that's happening out in the political front. We're going to get to that real quick. But as we want to shout out, as we always do, hey, guess what? It's just another absolutely great day to be alive and well and free and living in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world, bar none. I've got a symbol of that behind me, my American flag. Also with my Mount Rushmore of conservatives, got the American flag tie wrapped around my neck. We are ready to go. So what's happening out there, folks? You know, there's so many things out there. One of the things I want to talk about is just got something that came over on the internet. You guys can check it out for yourselves. It seems that Attorney General Barr has come out and basically has said that it looks like there's not going to be any indictments or any further investigation of President Obama and Joe Biden, you know, in terms of anything happening to these guys. And I think, you know, obviously we don't know what's going behind the scenes, but I'm just wondering, you know, would Attorney General Holder have done the same thing and come out with that type of a statement immediately? I don't understand why a statement like that needed to be made right now. Why just let them take a big sigh of relief? I mean, you know what's happening right now? People like Valerie Jarrett, Ben Rhodes, maybe even Coney and Clapper, and, you know, Rosenstein and McCabe and Lisa Page and Strzok and all these guys. They're probably breathing a huge sigh of intercourse and relief out there. And it really ticks me off because, I mean, this is what we're fed, right? Every time we hear this on the news, we go on to, you know, you'll hear Sean Hannity talking about it's coming from, his sources. And then Laura Ingram will talk about it, and Mark Levin, and you hear it on Rush, and you hear it on all these other stations. And we always hear that, investigations are going on. We always hear that we're this close to getting an indictment. We always hear that somebody who's committed a criminal act, somebody who's committed, I consider these acts of treason, somebody who's done something that is illegal, that we're this close to handing out indictments. We're this close to going to jail. And you know what? Nothing ever intercoursing happens at all. I mean, you can do anything that you want if your name happens to be a Clinton, if your name happens to be a Rhodes or a Valerie Jarrett or a President Obama or a Biden or a family member of, it doesn't matter, folks. But you know what? Everyday average Americans in flyover country, if we even did a smidgen, to borrow a phrase from our illustrious monarch, Barack Obama, for 8 years previously, the past POTUS. If we even did a smidgen of what these people did, of what these people perpetrated, we would be in intercoursing jail with our hands. We would be perp walked, ankles bound, hands bound behind our back, a gag in our mouth. And we'd be read our rights, and we would be told that, guess what? The entire way the federal government, the Justice Department, is coming against you because you committed a crime. Do you realize that's what they do, folks? That's what they did to Flynn. Look at what happened now with General Flynn tonight. Whatever. He's going to be set free. The Justice Department decided to drop the case. Why? Because in that instance, they found what? That there was no valid reason, that there was an injustice that had been done to this man and to his family and to his credibility. And in that case, they went in there, they found the facts, and they did that. We haven't even started the investigation of this wiretapping, of this unmasking. Just to give you an idea, you know what they found out? Joe Biden was asking for unmasking. That just takes me to another thing. Yes, it's absolutely, you can unmask, but there has to be a national security risk. What were the national security risks? That's what we'd like to know. This is what they were using, folks. They were using it as a back door because, you can't spy on Americans legally. But you know what you can do? You can certainly spy on non-Americans. You can certainly spy on non-American diplomats. You can spy on whoever you want that way. And then what you do is, since you were spying, like, for example, General Flynn was talking to, the Ambassador Kislyak, and he's the incoming Director of National Intelligence. He's the guy that he's going to be reporting to the President of the United States. He needs to be speaking. He didn't do anything wrong. These people talk about the freaking Logan Act. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. So General Flynn, he can talk whatever he wants as long as he's not basically undermining the United States of America or doing something illegal. So what do? You come out and you decide, you know what, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to unmask General Flynn as that he was the one that was the American citizen talking. We're going to put it out there that he was talking about, giving favors to Russia even before the administration came in. Hey, newsflash, folks, do you realize, and I don't know who the ambassador is right now, but do you realize that President Obama, prior to being elected, was sending people backdoor channels? They're always done with countries, always as an incoming president is coming inside there to get a feel of what's going on with these other countries. Nobody ever threw out the Logan Act against President Obama trying to do a backdoor channel to Iran at that time. But now it's on the verge of treason. It's on the verge of doing something illegal that this was one of the first mistakes, I think, that happened in the Trump administration. And I think that it was the infancy of the administration. They probably, wanted, smooth sailing, thinking that things were going to happen. And the advice that was given, and obviously President Trump made the call, but I think that was a mistake at that time of letting General Flynn go. And I made that comment, when it happened. But I think the pressure of just trying to, go with the flow with Washington, D.C., get the new administration on track, if it meant, that, okay, this is what happened, and we don't want to have something that just bogs us down right from the beginning. I don't think they ever thought that this was going to escalate to what this thing was. And I think they completely underestimated the absolute hatred, the absolute, whatever you want to call it. I mean, just, the absolute, trying to think of a word. I mean, they just hate the enmity that these guys had for President Trump and what happened. And that's where you had, like I said, this, this complete, structure, this inner structure, the workings of Washington, D.C., the cancerous tentacles that basically surround and absorb the DNA of Washington, D.C., where you've got, all the alphabet networks, the mainstream media, the left stream media, the alt-left we talk about, the Democratic State Party-controlled media. Then you talk about, the academic elites that are inside there. Then you talk about, the lobbyists. Then obviously the never-Trumpers. Then you're talking about the people on the other side, the Republicans and Democrats, just really the moderates and the progressives and the rhinos. And then you have the people in the deep state, these people that are not even elected. And they're the ones, that are not carrying out anything inside there, what the Trump administration wants, or slow walking it, through their departments. And that's exactly what's happening. And these are the kind of things, that we need to avoid. But the problem is that President Trump, he's just one man. He gives out, in order for these things to happen, you have to have people that are in the departments that are willing to go the extra mile. And if there's still those holdovers from the Obama administration, from the Bush administration, they're still in there, or from the Clinton administration. We saw what happened in the Russian collusion delusion. We saw what happened in the Ukrainian, fiasco, that whole delusion and lies of the Ukrainian thing. What happened to Ukraine now, folks? What happened to Russia all of a sudden? What happened to President Trump being a puppet of Putin? What happened to all that? All completely gone, right? And all the proof that was supposed to be there, that President Trump was a spy, that was activated, that, Putin was a phenomenal handler, and he's a handler for President Trump. What happened to all that crap? Gone. And now what are they using? The Chinese Wuhan virus. If those things didn't bring them down, maybe this will bring them down. Well, folks, looks like they're telling me they're going a little long on this segment. But we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. We've got to take some time out here for our sponsors. We've got to pay our bills here as well. So remember, if you're watching us, you can certainly, we're coming to you from the Conservative Commanders Radio Network studios around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn American Political Radio, and AM/FM 24/7. And as I said before, on the AUN TV network in California. Folks, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a few. Don't go away. So much more coming on the other side.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Well, welcome back, folks, to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show here as we're coming to you live on the Conservative Commandos radio network and around the world on various radio stations and also on AUN TV network. That's right, folks. We're on the AUN TV broadcasting system in California. Listen, if you want to get a hold of me, you certainly can do so. You can do it at our website, which is drnasirshaikh.com, and that's drnasirshaikh.com, drnasirshaikh.com, or at my Twitter account, which is at Nasir Shaikh Show. That's at Nasir Shaikh Show, or check us out on Facebook, which is the Nasir Shaikh Show. That's the Nasir Shaikh Show. You know, folks, I like to say that when you're right, you're right. When you're left, you're wrong. Well, that is something that sort of like, you know, what I like to sign off with and just, you know, tell everybody each and every single time, because it is so right. I mean, that is an axiom that you can actually, as a political axiom of mine, that you can take to the political bank. When you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Tell me anything out there, folks. Is there anything that the left does that is correct? Is there anything that the left does that is right? Is there anything that the left does that is moral? Is there anything at all that is done out there from the left that you could say was politically motivated to do the right thing for the United States of America and for its and for the people? Never. It's never done. And I'll tell you what, when you're talking about when you're right, that better be a large R, and it be conservative on the right. Absolutely. Can't be a rhino, can't be a little r, can't be progressive, can't be a moderate Republican, can't be moderately right, can't be progressively right. You've got to be right, conservative right. And that's when you know you're right. All right, I'll just leave it at that. Folks, here's something right now. This is coming over the wire. It's been out there. Donald Trump has just revealed that he's been taking hydroxychloroquine and zinc. So what does he think of so far? He goes, I seem to be okay. I mean, I love it. This is exactly what we need, okay, from our president to tell us what he's doing. And this is going to get, you know what, if this can save one life out there, if there's somebody out there that's suffering or hasn't heard or doesn't know about that perhaps, you know, the anti-malarial drug, hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine by itself with azithromycin or remdesivir or whatever the other cocktails or regimes that some of the recommendations are. Either hospitals are using them or someone at the CDC has probably said that it may be beneficial. Look, if someone is dying out there, folks, they're dying. I mean, this is one of the stupidest questions that people put. Well, you know what? They could die from that drug cocktail. They could die from that. They could die from that. What if they took that and they died? They're already dying, you stupid, idiotic moron. They're already dying. Give the choice to the patient. Let them make an informed decision as to what they want to do. Do you know the hundreds, not even the hundreds, do you know the thousands upon thousands of stories, folks, that have come from not only the United States of America, from around the world, where people who were basically said, you know, it's a death sentence. There's nothing more that the doctor said they could do for them. When many, 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 many of those patients started taking hydroxychloroquine, either by itself or with an antibiotic or an antiviral medication, whatever it was that these various medical institutions and hospitals and doctors were trying to utilize, and basically saying that they were seeing some, what we want to call real life, but in the scientific world, anecdotal evidence, and that was working, their lives were saved. So I just think it's great that he comes out. And then, you know, there's a picture out there that you see him out there, and it's, you know, he's out there speaking obviously without a mask. And I think this whole thing with the mask is just absolute, okay, BS. Absolute BS. Now, I want to put a caveat on that, and that's the following. If you're in close proximity, healthcare worker, you're in a confined space, and I mean confined space. I'm not talking about a freaking warehouse, okay, a 10, 15, 20,000, you know, square foot warehouse, and there's a ton of people in there. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about confined space, so you're dealing with someone who has the virus, the Wuhan flu virus. And a mask is probably, it's going to be beneficial in there, all right? Definitely. Protective personal equipment, absolutely. But here there's a picture out there with President Trump, and then you've got that, you know, Dr. Fauci, and then you've got Dr. Bricks. And I've got my things with these people too, because I just think that they just, you know, they are, you know, medical personnel. They have no idea about the economy. They have no idea about anything else but that. In fact, some of their ideas and some of the things they're putting out there, well, why is it one day it's okay, one day it's not? One day masks are good, one day masks aren't going to help you. One day it's, you know, how do we come up? Here's another thing. The 6-foot rule. Can anybody explain to me? I'm an MD. Does anybody explain to me what's 6 foot? I've heard doctors say that a sneeze from a person can go maybe, you know, 15 to 20 to 25 feet, project out the air droplets and are carried. Why did we come up with 6 feet? What was that number? Well, because, you know what, 1 to 2 didn't seem far too, you know, didn't seem too far away. And then, you know, 1 to 2 feet was too close. And then you thought, well, you know, we can't make it 16 to 20 or 15 feet, 10 feet, that's too far. So what did you use? Some idiot at the CDC or wherever this thing came from, some idiot came up and said, you know what, 6 feet sounds good. You know what? Guess the number. 6. 6 feet sounds good. Let's do it at 6 feet. Now you got stores, okay, putting lines out there, measuring it out, 6 feet exactly, 6 feet exactly. Dare you step over that line, okay, and someone looks over you and go, you're an inch closer to me. You're 5 foot, 5 feet 11, get back your inch. I mean, this is what's happening. So what they have out there, Fosse and bricks, they're out there, okay, out in the open on the White House lawn or wherever this picture was taken, and they've got their masks on. I mean, just totally, it just defies absolute, logic as far as I'm concerned. Now, it's a recommendation. If you feel that that's something that, you really feel, fine, go ahead and wear it. Okay. But you know what? There are evidence out there that, it has absolutely going to do nothing at all out there in open spaces in terms of protection. Close up to someone that absolutely has the virus, I can understand that. Using with personal protection equipment and you're on the front lines fighting it in a hospital setting, in a nursing home setting, you're dealing with patients that have that, absolutely. But to say that, you're going to be going out there. Did you hear the thing that Comrade de Blasio now is doing out there in New York City? They say that if you're out at the beaches and you're in the water, they're going to forcibly remove you. I knew he was Comrade. I just didn't knew he was freaking, I didn't think that he was Adolf Hitler. Now we're bringing, these kind of authoritarian, rules and regulations. And we're seeing right now in various states where the Supreme Courts of these different states are coming down basically saying null and void. I think Wisconsin, they were basically saying, okay, these orders of not opening up your businesses and these orders, okay, that you've got to stay in your home and you can't be out. They're declaring those absolutely null and void. And that's exactly, folks, what needs to happen. Look at that's happening out in California. Governor Newsom and the mayor of Los Angeles, Garcetti, they're actually saying that Garcetti already put out the executive order, another 3 months of a lockdown. And that was just a few days ago, a week ago maybe. So we're talking, June, July, August, 3 months. What's that going to do to the economy of California, which is, one of the top, in the top 10 or top 15 of economies in the whole world? What's going to happen out there, folks? People's livelihoods are at stake. But you know what? It's all about politics. Because you know what? If they can drive this from August into September, October, November, and what did Governor Newsom do? Executive order. Hey, you don't have to come into a polling place to vote. You can just vote by mail. This is what the alt-left, the Democratic state media wants, folks. They want this. You know what they want this election to be about? Nobody go to a voting booth. Nobody do it electronically. Just mail it in. Mail in your document. You want to talk about voter fraud of the highest caliber? Because they know that there's no way that that's ever going to, folks, how are you going to do that? You've got, 120, 130 million votes? Last time we're, almost 63 to 65 million on each side? What are we going to do? Just can't be done. But if the Democrats, they're pushing for that, folks. The alt-left's pushing for it because they know that's the only way that they can win through voter fraud. Folks, this time has gone by so fast. As I said before, and I'll leave you with this. When you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Thanks so much for listening, folks. We'll see you again tomorrow. And I just want to remind you that this is the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. And we've been coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos radio network out here and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn American Political Radio, and AM/FM 24/7, and also seen on the AUN TV network in California. Folks, thanks so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you again tomorrow. Take care and stay safe.
Hey everybody, coming to you from my little Zoom studio here, and you need to hear this because you're being bombarded right now with these really over-the-top accusations against the president that he's got blood on his hands, that his denial and delay has cost lives, and that basically he took no action until it was too late. The question is any of this true? All right, let's start back in January. January 15th, the first patient with coronavirus enters the United States from Wuhan. That was also the same day that these impeachment pens were being handed out. But luckily, the administration was on top of it. A couple of days later, January 17th, they were already implementing screenings at San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York airports for flights coming in from Wuhan. But still, even about a week later, our mainstream media was still promoting things like this. Doctors saying, hey, this isn't a big deal, not much more dangerous than the flu. Nevertheless, President Trump did implement that travel restriction on January 31st, even though things like the World Health Organization were saying no need to limit trade and movement. And they largely criticized President Trump's travel restrictions. Same day, January 31st, that Nancy Pelosi proposed the No Ban Act, which would actually stop President Trump from implementing the life-saving travel restrictions that he did implement. So was everybody else really sounding the alarm at this point in time? No, of course not. Headlines like these were being written, and constantly, and by mainstream outlets. Again, I don't blame them. These are the facts they had at the time. Adam Schiff, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, was getting regular updates in that committee, but he didn't even publicly talk about coronavirus until February 25th. And let's not forget that President Trump did talk about the coronavirus in the State of the Union on February 4th. What happened to that State of the Union? That happened. So fast forward a couple of weeks when the president actually asked Congress for supplemental funding to combat the virus, $2.5 billion. What did Nancy Pelosi do? Instead of putting that money on the House floor to be voted on, she put a bill to ban flavored tobacco. That was the priority of the Speaker of the House. You also hear a lot of criticism for Trump being overly optimistic. But this is what Nancy Pelosi was saying in late February, telling people to go out and enjoy themselves for the Chinese New Year.
Come to Chinatown. Here we are.
Same with Bill de Blasio in New York City. I want to be clear, I'm not blaming them either. We all have the same set of facts. Even around the world, places like Italy and Spain and Iran, their cases didn't start to spike until early March. And even they didn't lock down. Italy didn't lock down until March 10th. Spain didn't lock down until March 14th. Iran, not until April 4th. Places like Sweden didn't lock down at all. As these countries locked down, were we just doing nothing? No, of course not. President Trump implemented travel restrictions from Europe on March 12th. And what did the media say? All of that. All of that. Widespread criticism. How could you do this? What's the point of this? Well, does this really sound like an administration that's in denial about this? Of course not. And a few days later, we implemented our own 15 days to slow the spread, which then turned into 30 more days. Okay, fine, say the critics, but what about the PPE? We were well behind. We should have had more in the national stockpile. Yeah, that's true. But USA Today did a fact check on this. As it turns out, most of our stockpile was depleted after the H1N1 virus. Okay? And the Obama administration never replenished it. That's the truth. Am I blaming them? No, not really. They don't have a crystal ball. What about the testing? We were behind on that. And that's President Trump's fault, right? Well, no, not so simple. Early on, the CDC started to develop a test, but China refused to give them actual samples of the virus, so it was harder to make a test. And also, they didn't do a great job of it. Also, long-standing FDA regulations prevented our private industry from actually developing tests. The Trump administration reversed those regulations that had been around for well over a decade. This is the main point here. If we're going to look back in time and try to suggest that our government should have shut everything down back in February, well, where's the evidence for that? We're really going to shut things down when our cases hadn't really started to increase? When it barely started to increase in places like Italy or Iran? Of course not. They didn't shut things down until way later. Do you really think that we should have lost tens of millions more of jobs and livelihoods based on almost no evidence at the time? Is that really a reasonable expectation? Is that really a reasonable accusation? No, I don't think so. Listen, I don't want to blame Democrats for this at all. I don't think we should. I don't think there's a lot of people to blame for this, except for China, of course. It would be time for all of us to give each other a little bit of grace and understand that at the local, state, and federal level, everybody is doing their best to fight the pandemic. And we're going to need to stop the dishonest finger pointing as we move into the next phase, where we figure out how to reopen our economy and fight the pandemic alongside that. Thanks for listening.